very thankful that you are here today, and very thankful Greg's able to lead singing and been struggling with pain quite a bit recent days, but having some good days now, and we're thankful. Our family did enjoy the time together last night. It was very special for us to share a few songs with Dick and Grin, and hoping there was some entertainment that took place. Feel like there was. And I was just thinking, this is really such a unique, good church. There's so many activities going on here, veterans and widows, widowers, children, youth, so many activities that it's really a joy to be among such a family. Preacher apologized for a short sermon. He told the congregation afterwards, he said, my dog chews paper, and I put my coffee cup down this morning, and he got a hold of my sermon material and chewed on it pretty good, so that's why I had the short lesson. There was a visitor there from another congregation that morning. When he came out the door with shaking hands with the preacher, he said, "Preacher, if that dog has any pups, I've got a preacher I want to give." So I may be apologizing for a short sermon, but it won't be because of a dog. Today's lesson is titled, "But He Lingered." But He lingered. The word lingered is our emphasis today. And of course, it means to procrastinate or to hold back, to not do what we need to be doing. So he lingered. Who lingered? Well, it was Lot lingered. Abraham's nephew was Lot. Abraham helped him to know the cattle business, how to make money with cattle. And they both developed huge herds. And they reached the point that they were fighting over the water holes, the shepherds were. And Abraham and Lot said, "This has got to change." Abraham said, "I'm going to let you decide if you want to go one direction, I'll go the other, and take our cattle with us." Well, old brother Lot looked at the well-watered plains of Jordan, and he chose that direction. But in that direction were the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, exceedingly wicked cities. But that's the direction that he wanted to go. His evil companions pulled Lot into their sinful ways. A whole lot of folks into their sinful ways. But our Father wanted to save Lot and his family. And so he sent two angels. Chapter 19 of Genesis and verse 1. "And there came two angels to Sodom at evening, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground." These angels have come to deliver Lot and his family, but his son-in-laws won't listen to him, and the angels persuade Lot, taking him by the hand. In chapter 19 and verse 10, beginning. "The men," the angels, "put forth their hand, and they pulled Lot into the house to them." The house was surrounded by homosexuals wanting to commit the act with these angels. But they were pulled into the house, and they smote the men with blindness. Verse 13, "We will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great, before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. Lot went out, he spake to his son-in-laws, but he seemed as one that mocked unto them. The old man's gone crazy. He's talking about the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. He's lost it. Verse 16 is our key verse. And listen, we need to get 15. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot. Arise, get thee thy wife and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest they be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, Lot lingered, couldn't make his mind up which way to go. The men laid hold upon the hand, his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him. And they brought him forth and set him without the city. Literally taking them by the hand and leading them, because they lingered, they needed to get their act together. Why do you think Lot lingered? Why did he linger? I can picture him standing at the door. They're wanting them to go on out, the angels are. And he's looking at some of his family. Maybe, I don't know if he had a mother or father still living or not. But he looked around about at his friends. I'm going to lose all my friends. I'm leaving all my friends. Was it the ways of the world? These were wicked cities, known for their wickedness. He's going to leave all that behind. Is he ready to make changes? I don't know why he lingered, but he can't make his mind up what to do. And so the angels just came and they just pulled him out. They drug him out. And he, I don't reckon, resisted their effort, but he lingered. Why did he linger? We don't know for sure, but it could have been some of the reasons we just shared. It's a dangerous thing to linger, whenever there are good things involved. It's dangerous. Why? Because the uncertainty of the future. James 4:13-15 says, Go to now, ye that say, we'll go into such and such a city and buy and sell and get gain, whereas you know not what shall be on the morrow, or what is your life? It is even a vapor that appear for a little time and then vanishes away. For you ought to say, if the Lord will, we will do this and do that. So, one of the dangers of lingering, we don't know what the future is going to bring. We think we're going to live for a long time, but we have no promise of that. We are promised of judgment. Why is it dangerous? Because of the message being so important to us. Why is it dangerous to linger? Our hearts can become hardened. Hebrews 3 and verse 15. Harden not thy heart. Hear his voice. Today, if you would hear his voice, harden not your heart. The heart can become hardened. Also, seared with our conscience can become seared. 1 Timothy 4:1 and 2. The Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter time some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of demons, whose conscience shall be seared, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared as with a hot iron, branding iron, if you would. You see the cowboys and they brand their cattle, and it gets a branding iron blazing hot, and then they sear. That sears that identification for as long as the animal lives. So it is our conscience can become seared with a hot iron. Our hearts can become hard. That's why it's dangerous to linger. People change their mind. And there are no second chances. Some people think some even preach there will be a second chance given. But the Bible doesn't teach that. Hebrews 9 and verse 27, is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment. No promise of a second coming. Some examples of where people delayed in waiting, pro and con. Abraham, Genesis 23 and verse 3, 22 and verse 3. Abraham was told by our father to give his only son as a sacrifice upon Mount Moriah. And we read in verse 3, of the 22nd chapter. Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass, and took two of the young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave unto the wood of the burnt offering, and rose up and went into the place which God told him, Mount Moriah. But notice, he rose up early morning. Can you appreciate the faith of Abraham? He believed that God gave him to him out of the dead, and that he would be able to give him back to him alive. Faith so strong that he got up early in the morning. I would want to procrastinate. I would want to linger, wouldn't you? And say, well, maybe tomorrow might be a better day to make this journey, Isaac. But he rose up early because he saw the urgency and the need that should be fulfilled. Good example. Also, we have the example in Luke chapter 9. Jesus, in verse 59, asked some of his disciples, one of them in particular on this occasion, to follow him. And he said, Lord, let me first go and bury my father, and then I'll follow you. Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead, but go thou and preach the word of God. Another one said, I will follow thee, but let me first go and say farewell to those of my household. Jesus said, he that turneth back, looking back, putting his hand to the plow and looking back, is not fit for the kingdom of God. So these two disciples are examples of those who hesitated. Felix, Acts 24, the governor, when I have a more convenient season, I'll call for thee. As he reasoned of righteousness and judgment and temperance, go thy way for this time. When I have a more convenient season, I'll call for thee. In Acts chapter 26, Agrippa, almost thou persuadest me to become a Christian. He delayed. He wasn't ready to come to the Lord and obey the gospel. Almost is but to be lost. So we see these examples. When I was a young boy, I don't know how old I was very young, I'm thinking 7 or 8 years of age. We had a new neighbor to move into our area. My mother was very good about inviting people to church. She invited the new neighbor to go to church with us. She said, well, we've got a big tent meeting going on where I go to church. And I'll tell you what, if you'll go with me, I'll go with you. My mother said, okay. It was what we called back then a holy roller church. When they got the spirit, they would roll around on the floor and throw all kinds of conniptions in the name of God. But what I remember most of all, I remember some of the holy rolling that one time we went. But I remember how the women, 3 or 4 women, came out when the invitation was given. They came out and they ran up and down the aisle and they would grab hold of, I'm assuming, some of their family. And they would pull this person, and the person didn't want to go. Yes, the Lord needs you. You need to get your act together. And come on now. That scared me because I thought they were going to get me next. I wasn't ready to go with them. I wasn't ready to go. What what's it going to take? Some of you have been hearing these invitations for many years. And you know it's about this time that we say, okay, you know, if there's anything we can do to encourage you to become a Christian, come on down. And if you need to obey the gospel, if you need to restore the Lord, you know. But you have procrastinated. You have delayed. You're lingering. You know, we're not going to run down the aisle and pull on you and try to get you to come forward. That's something you have to decide yourself. But wouldn't it be wonderful if you could do that on your own and see the need and come in obedient faith? We have no promise of tomorrow. Tomorrow you may have a different attitude. Your conscience may become seared with a hot iron. You may have a heart that's hardened by sin and wrongdoing. If it's in your heart today that you've been thinking about obeying the gospel, you've been thinking about being restored to the church, why not do something about it? Don't delay. Don't wait for someone to encourage you when you know what you need to do. Lot had to think about quite a bit of things, several things. And he lingered. But he repented, got his act together. I hope the same can be said for all of us. Linger no longer, but come in obedient faith. While we stand and while we sing.